Welcome back. This is the first in a series of 7 videos, basically egg cooking techniques. When I was a young woman learning how to cook, I was amazed at how little I knew about eggs, and certainly over the years, watching or looking at different recipes, trying different things, I can see their use is it's limitless. And so I thought I'd take some time to show you some little techniques you can use to make this easy. I I make hard-boiled eggs, which is what I'm starting with right now. I make these every week. You can do, gosh, it's a perfect quick breakfast. You leave them in the shell, bake them in advance, leave them in the shell or unshell them sealed, keep them sealed. They'll keep in the refrigerator for 5 days. And throughout the week, you can graze on them, or you can add them to salads. You can you can even make like wrap them in sausage and make a Scotch egg, which is just delicious. You want to do that with a soft boiled egg, though. I'm going to try it. The recipe book does go into some fine details on how to the different styles within the set, different techniques for cooking eggs. So that's meant to just kind of give you a little bit of flexibility in your skill set. But really, egg cooking varies by method and temperature. You want to season eggs usually after cooking, and there are also some really slick techniques for cleaning pans. So I'm just going to bring this water up to a boil. A little time saver tip for you too. If you, I'll start boiling water for like pasta or any type of thing, a little in advance, and then just set it off the heat for a bit. That way, when I'm ready to cook something really fast, I can do it. And usually, this is something I do while I'm making something else. One of the great techniques for helping to prevent cracked eggs while you're cooking them is to add a tablespoon of vinegar to the water. Kind of handy. And of course, I've seasoned the water too because the eggs will take on the flavor as they cook. So my setup usually is I use a slotted spoon when handling these eggs. You don't want to touch them, obviously. After they've cooked, they're going to retain heat for a really long time, and we're actually going to immerse them in a cold water bath to make it to bring the temperatures down so you can safely store them in the refrigerator. But a slotted spoon is nice because it drains off the egg, and it also kind of, I don't know what it does. Eggs have porous shells, but the hot water interacting with the cold egg, it just does tend to crack it. So this seems to help a lot as a useful tool. And we'll get that a few minutes. Let's see. I also could talk a little bit about the pans that you use for cooking eggs in general. A couple of years ago invested in stainless steel cookware. This stuff is awesome, and it was very intimidating to use at first because it's everything I used or everything I prepared kind of like burnt almost, and the sticking, there were different things I had to figure out to make or prevent that from happening or minimize it if I can. Some things like eggs are difficult to clean off a pan anyways, but I just kind of hung with it and tried different things. And soaking pans, really does work. And if you use an oil to cook the eggs, that kind of does something to the surface to make it easier. If you soak that, it'll just kind of lift off easy. And apparently, if you add a little bit of vinegar to the water as you're soaking the pan, it also neutralizes the smell, which is kind of nice. But for things like stainless steel, it's such a versatile type of, or it's versatile equipment because you literally can put that in the oven. You can pre-cook certain things like meats. You can saute them like partially just to seal the outside, and then you could put it to an oven to finish off, and it won't continue to cook in the same way. You just make sure you use this if you have a stainless steel. If you use stainless steel, because I don't have scars anymore, but there are plenty of cooking scars from just being busy or not, organized, and or things just kind of going awry, which does happen in the kitchen. Just be careful not to set that on the stove top too, because that is a fire hazard. And don't put it in the oven either. I didn't really learn that one from personal experience, but you can see how that kind of oversight can happen, especially when you're doing something new. Okay, so we're getting there with the boil. See how it took just a few minutes to get it to a boil, just with a little pre-planning. You want it at a rolling boil, so you know it's hot. Because eggs, the shell of an egg is porous, you don't ever want to immerse them in water in general, but when you're cooking them, the fact that they're porous allows the hot water to penetrate the shell and cook it within the shell. If you were to drop it in the shell, which you certainly do, especially with a lot of different kinds of soups, that's a different story. But here we go. Looks like we're off to a roll. So leave it on a rolling boil, and let's see. Let's keep our fingers crossed we don't crack eggs. And if you are able and willing and curious and lucky enough to have the space, gosh, get some chickens, because it's such a satisfying activity, and they're fun little creatures too. They have personality, really interesting personalities, but it is incredible to have these on hand, and it just completely blew my world open with possibilities in the kitchen. And when you're boiling too, it's if you got it all the way cranked up on high, let it get back to a boil here, and you actually want to take the temp down a little lower, because these puppies are going to do their thing. Okay, now with boiling eggs, you could boil it anywhere from 9 to 13 minutes, depending on how firm you want the yolk. 13 minutes, obviously, that is a hard yolk, and that's what you want if you want to keep the eggs for a couple of days, or eat it as a quick snack, or throw it into easily prepared fresh meals, because you don't want salmonella, minimize risk wherever you can. But I'm going to go for a hard boil or hard yolk, because I'm going to turn this into egg salad sandwich spread. And then I'm going to use a couple in some salad this afternoon. So here we go. So when the time is up, make sure you set a timer too. When the time is up, you're going to remove this from the heat. Do this quickly. Don't let them sit in the hot water, or they'll get water inside their shell as they start to cool down. And so when you open up the shell, it'll kind of drip out, and it's kind of, not super appetizing. It'll still be good probably. But what you'll do is you'll take this off the heat, and then you'll remove the eggs carefully with a slotted spoon, and just put it in a little bowl, or something with a high lip, and put it in the sink and allow cold water to fill the bowl and to kind of run over it. I do that for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, and it gets the eggs definitely to a point where you can handle them. You want to make sure they're completely dry, and keep them in a bowl, maybe with a little napkin, to just kind of keep them from moving around or sloshing around in the bowl and cracking. Or of course you can shell them and keep them sealed and just nibble them really quickly and conveniently. But I hope you do enjoy, and stay tuned for the next video coming up for eggs, egg cooking techniques. Fried eggs is up next. And I wish you good health and happiness.